very well.
Thank you for joining us.
Tonight we're going to do some meals for you on a slightly oriental basis.
Oh,
We're doing
yes,
dim sum,
so.
dim sum. We're doing chicken dim sum and pork dim sum, and we're doing a very rich, elegant soup, crab and egg, crag and egg.
Also doing a very, very simple fried rice.
Oh, yes.
And our guest on this show is a glamorous lady who's probably one of the cops in the world, the wonderful Gascoine.
That's nice. I said thank you, everybody. She's got a lovely... Oh,
lovely to
She's very nice. You look forward to meeting her.
When you see her, she's aged.
So are you when she gets on. It's all right, stay out there, Jill.
No, she's lovely.
We're going to start firstly with some wontons. These are just simple things you can do. We'll remind you later on when you've prepared them. You can freeze them. We'll explain how to do them. But firstly, I want to talk about wonton wrappers. Now, they're wonton wrappers, and they're extremely fine. You can buy them at most Chinese emporiums and a lot of the major stores. They're usually in the refrigerated cabinet. Terribly fine pasta. But one of the essential things when you're using, they dry out very, very quickly. So wrap them in a wet towel or a wet thing I'm using like that, so that when you're using, when you keep covering them up, because in these lights they dry out like that.
They've got to have a filling.
What do you think I'm about to talk about?
Good.
It comes your turn in a minute.
All right.
I've taken a chicken breast here, which has been skinned and boned, and I've processed it very finely, as you can see there, till it's virtually now a paste. I want that particular sort of texture. I'm adding into it here the tops of 4 spring onions, the green part, very finely chopped. About 1 inch of fresh ginger, peeled and again finely chopped. And finally to this I'm adding some Chinese 5 spices. Now this is a very special spice, very, very pungent, and you use very little. So I'm going to actually measure this out just on the edge of the spoon there, a tiny amount like that, because it is very, very strong, but essential, I think, to Chinese cooking, don't you?
I agree.
Do you? I'm glad you agree.
Well, not in all
something.
Dishes, though.
Not in all, but in most.
No, that's stupid. Now you've got to mix it up and fill it.
I
that's
know, well, never mind.
See?
They're all imagining this is mixing.
Right.
So
the only thing about that, what Peter's doing, is one essential thing. When you are doing any Chinese dish, it is a good idea to get all your ingredients chopped and everything else, because, as you know, Chinese food or Chinese-style food takes... So get everything in their dishes first so that they're ready before...
I'm ready to start. So just take one of these wonton wrappers, cover them again, can't stress that enough. Even in your own home conditions, these will dry out terribly quickly. Just take about ½ a teaspoon of the measure and just place it in the middle of your little wrapper, because they're only tiny, we're talking here. Have a bowl with some water and a brush. Just brush the edges. You're all familiar with this, of course. And then gently fold this over, just very carefully. Get those edges. See, I've put too much in that. That's why I said it really is the tiniest amount. Press those down like that. Would you be quiet for a minute? You'll get your turn.
Come on then, hurry up.
Push that down. If you want to make them a little more exotic, you just then twist them into shape like that, and you see these often in the shop. I'll do another, because I think these are fun. Actually, a very nice and a safe thing for children to do on a wet day.
Yeah, I know, but not when it goes into the steamer.
As I say, oh, hang on, that's wrong. I'll pick that. As I say, don't overfill these, because they are only tiny parcels. Just wet the edges, very important. Press down well. I'll just do another. You'll get your turn in a minute, David.
Yeah, then you'll start interrupting all the time.
I know. I've got lots to talk about.
Typical.
Twist. Now, I've got some in an electric steamer here already going. Make sure, I'm doing these on a plate. Just make sure that you oil the plate, because otherwise they'll stick. I'm just popping these in because they all cook very quickly, and these will still cook off with the others that you'll see later.
Right, now the pork ones are virtually the same thing. You need about 250, 300. No, it's just gone cock-eyed.
Anybody got a spanner?
Minced pork. And one of the things you need to do, if you're mincing your pork at home, because with small quantities, a butcher often won't do it for you. So if you're doing it at home, make sure that your pork is fairly lean, and also, too, that it's partially frozen before you start to either mince it or process it in a food processor. Now, the other thing with this, too, is when you've got any minced food, you've got to use it straight away, because it can become contaminated very quickly.
Oh,
so always
keep them in the fridge, too, is handy.
Right. Now, into here just goes 2 cloves of chopped garlic, 3 spring onions with some of the green and white chopped, some fresh ginger, about a little inch piece of fresh ginger, also too some water chestnuts finely chopped.
Cheers, everybody.
Now the finely chopped water chestnuts are these things here that are in the front that look like sort of flattened whatevers, but they're little spare little water chestnuts. If you don't use all the can, you can actually freeze it for later use, which is quite handy. And then finally goes into it some Chinese mushrooms, about 6 of those, 5 or 6 of those. And while I'm mixing it with one hand, I'll put it on a damp thing here. This will be
You
easiest.
wanted camera space, you've
I know,
got
I've
it.
got it. I can do that. Mix it with one hand and do it with the other. Hold it with your stomach. In the Chinese mushrooms, they come and they're very wrinkly and all dried up. You just put them in boiling hot water until they go like that. It takes about 20 minutes.
You've got steel in your cupboard.
And then what you need to do, no I haven't yet, but I will have, is cut the stalk off, because the stalk is virtually inedible. It's very, very tough. And then just chop the rest of those up very finely. So mix it together very quickly like this. And again, this goes into the wrappers. Now, the quickest way of getting it all really together is to do it with your hand, to be honest. So make sure you've well washed your hands before it. You haven't patted anything at all that you shouldn't have patted, like your dog or your cat or the milkman. Well, you never know, do you? And it really does. And then bang it
goes on, doesn't it?
And that gets it together. Now, the same with the wonton wrappers that Peter did earlier. Just put them in, but this time, instead of doing it in the way that he did it, another quite good idea is to get a little bit of this, or you can use it slightly more than what Peter did, pop it into the centre like that, and then bring those up around it to make sort of little parcels. So you can actually get quite a bit in. These actually have got rather damp, these ones, so you don't need water for this, just some filling. Pop it in. Now, when you've done these, another good thing with them is you can freeze them on a lightly oiled slide, metal slide, in your freezer. And then when you've done, take them out and then pop them into the fridge, or freeze in a bag.
Heavens for the grape.
Cook them for frozen. So I'm going to put these in as well, but I've got some extras there.
In one of these programs in the future, can we do lockjaw toffee? And I'll get you to sample it. Now, we're going to start on the crab and egg soup. Now, what I've got in here is 4 cups of really homemade chicken
idea
stock.
if you switched it on, wouldn't it?
You turned it off earlier and said it'll cook before the end of the show. Now they will all be raw. Never mind, that's your problem, not mine. 4 cups of good strained chicken stock. I added into it 3 tablespoons of well-washed rice. I washed it until the water was clear, put it in a sieve and left it till it drained, and when I was ready to use it, it was all lovely and dry. I've been cooking this uncovered for about 10 minutes. Now I'm going on to start adding into here. I cut up, again, 4 green parts, the green parts of 4 spring onions. I did them on the diagonal so that it just makes an attractive finish when this is served up. We've got here, I will change cameras so that everybody can see at home, a tin of crab meat. Now I'm just going to unwrap this. I've just hit the cat, but never mind. And I want to show you here that sometimes, just break crab meat away like this, because sometimes you get bits of cartilage in it, and if you're doing something fine or you're doing a soup and they don't dissolve and they're very hard, and if you swallowed it you could choke, but that is actually very clear. So that goes into my soup. Remember now, we're only going to cook this for about 5 minutes more. The art of Chinese cooking is get it all ready and then get it done as quickly as possible and eaten.
Hey,
chicken,
Pete.
Chicken I want.
Chicken? Right, well what we did was we cut up, we did one chicken breast, and then we cut it up, as you can see, into very fine strips like this, because again it only cooks very, very quickly, and you only need half a chicken breast in this instance. So I'll just put that back on the plate there, because you've seen me cut up a bit of chicken before.
Can I have it?
Oh yes, sorry. There you are.
Thank you. So again, as David said, cut into fine strips, because this will all cook within the 5 minutes perfectly and hopefully not be overdone. Just watch the heat, because adding all these ingredients, of course, the temperature's going down. Now, I'm also here, I've cut up an inch piece of fresh ginger. I'm talking fresh here, powdered. Doesn't work at all. I'm adding to this a tablespoon of soy sauce. Come on. I never measure things. I don't know why I bother in the first place. Just mix that round. That's into the soup. Oh, it's lovely and hot, isn't it? And finally here, I'm going to add some Chinese... Did you tell me about the Chinese
Yes, I did. You soak them in hot water, take off the stalk, because you can't eat it, it's inedible, and then cut them up into slices.
Very important thing which David wouldn't have told you, squeeze them to get as much juice out of them as you can. Oh, I'm sorry, camera. Cut that off. Another thing he wouldn't have told you, that juice, keep it, don't throw it away, because it's got this marvellous flavour of these wild mushrooms. Freeze it if you like, and use it when you're going to make a stew, so you get this marvellous strong flavour of mushrooms. You didn't mention that, did you?
No, Peter, I'm sorry.
So I'm just adding these in.
Frightfully thing tonight, haven't we? We've gone all frightfully thing. Being terribly
as I say here...
Mind you, in a programme like this, I know we're not sort of mucking around with, because it is essential that you get the right principles, because if you miss some of these things out, you don't get the authentic flavour. And ginger and garlic, for example, is very important. Also, too, so is sesame oil.
Love sesame oil. Well, I'm using some in a moment.
Anyway, instead of that, while that's going to simmer away for 5 minutes, we'll just go away and let you rest for 5 minutes. No, we won't.
No, we
Let's
won't.
bring our
Where's
guest in.
Jill?
Here she is. Give a warm welcome to Jill Gascoine.
And it will be a warm. Well.
Hello.
That's a lovely
I didn't mean you, Dave, not to use for.
Get him afterwards. There's some little lemon
Oh,
water
thank
for
you
you
very
there.
much. That's very
and
nice
welcome
of
to the
you.
show, my
Thank
dear.
you. It's lovely to
wonderful.
be here.
Stunning
Yeah.
dress. Stunning.
Thank you very much. Thank
Oh,
you.
lovely
the other
heart
thing-
earrings. You don't wear them on your sleeve, you wear them
I wear them on my ears, yes.
It's got
Lovely.
2 hearts instead of 1.
One
Now
for
tell
each
us,
of them.
everybody wants to know, Jill, the cookbook. Because you're an avid cook, aren't you?
Yes, I love it, and I like to eat it as well.
I know. And pasta is one of your favourites.
Yes,
so really,
yes.
this is these dim sum are a type of
Oh,
pasta.
wonderful! Yes, Chinese and Italian. That's my
Yeah,
favourite
love
food.
Italian.
Yes.
I want to get really,
Oh, yes,
it's
absolutely,
Italian.
yeah.
But one thing we meant to tell the audience, Jill, was doing this with the pork and the beef and so forth, could have left that out and turned it into a meatless dim sums
good, yeah.
by using tofu. You know, that's the
Yes,
we've used it
yes,
before, the soybean.
yes, that's right.
That would give the bulk, add some vegetables and all the spices, and then you've got meatless ones as well. So you still get that nice Chinese
wonderful.
Oriental flavour.
Listen, I'm just standing here looking at you standing by the side of Peter and I.
She's
Yes.
very
How
dainty,
did you
isn't
get
she?
into the police force at your height?
I didn't know. I should have stood on my tippy toe.
What was they were
I
that-
am very, very short.
you are.
Did they have
Yes, I-
difficulty?
Well, yes, I stood a lot of times on a box in some of the scenes.
Oh, good.
They didn't see it, the audience didn't see it, but they had
Oh.
to put me on a box to meet the
They
gentleman.
won't tonight either. You see, we have to tell everybody something. Every time somebody sees us in the street, they say, "Oh, you Hudson Horse." Say, "Gosh, you're tall." Well, they forget that they push us down into a little box. Some have got those big televisions, but the average person's got one about that high. But we couldn't work out why people thought we were so tall.
Well, everyone thinks I'm
But you-
tall.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, it's because they shoot
you
you
are,
from
aren't
down there.
you?
And yes, I am, absolutely.
But what it is, we shouldn't tell you this, but we will. We've had these benches built to a special height. They come to here so that we don't stoop, because otherwise, if you were cooking, you'd be like that.
Oh, that's why they're so high.
So they're terribly
That's right.
high. You see, so people think
They're actually
they take
called
this
boob
business
rests.
quite
But
seriously.
the,
I mean this. Look at your dim sums.
So the only thing I was going to with the police thing, was it hard to get away from that? You know, having done it for so with cat's eyes and that, was it hard to get out of that?
Well, yes, it was. I mean, that's when everybody has how everybody remembers me, which is fair enough. I
Yeah.
don't mind, you know. But it's a long time ago now.
I know. Well, the last time we saw you was 10 years ago in New Zealand,
That's
wasn't
right,
it?
that's
When you were
right,
out there for a
yes.
promotion with one of the shows.
Oh.
Yes, that's right.
And what did you do? Did they do anything for you, the police there?
Oh yes, well they gave me a big. The Auckland police gave me a
dropped a
big
whole
welcome.
mushroom.
You've done what? Pick it up
Nothing,
in me.
nothing,
Sorry,
nothing,
as you were.
Yeah.
And they gave me a big welcome in Auckland. And when I arrived, there were five policewomen there, all with the same hairstyle as me. They'd all copied it from Maggie Falls. They all look like me.
Only taller.
Only taller. Yes, only
I
taller.
wish you'd leave. Look, Jill,
She's
come over
lovely.
here.
You
Ignore
give
him.
Peter a
He's
hand,
so
isn't
Where
it?
shall
rude.
I leave that there?
Yes.
Yes, darling.
tonight.
If you'd just like to give it, you'll just find there an egg in that bowl with a fork.
Yes.
This is just the finishing off now of the soup that we're doing. If you just beat that for me well.
When I cracked it.
Yeah, oh yes, it's hard to beat it when it's in a shell.
What shall I do with the
And
shell?
I throw it over your shoulder.
All right.
That, I'm glad you threw it that way, not this way. And
mine
a
would
little,
be.
half a teaspoon of the sesame oil. This is the oil we were talking about earlier, which is very strong, a gorgeous oil. I love
Have you got
it.
a teaspoon?
It should be there.
Here,
Who shifted
darling,
the
it's right
teaspoon?
by the side of you.
Ah, right.
Take
Half
your
a
own prop
teaspoon.
with you, we say.
You can't keep him off this side. It's
This is very
impossible.
good, this sesame oil, isn't it?
Love it. Love the flavour.
Delicious.
Now, what I want to do is get it well going. What we're going to do actually is tip, or Jill, when she's done it, is tip this egg in very slowly. I want to get this soup moving very fast like that. I'll get the right camera eventually. And then the egg will go into threads, hopefully.
Right,
you gotta get
Nice,
up
very
there.
thick. What?
You won't get into the pot.
Now, we've
that
provided...
done?
That's lovely, darling. We've provided you with a box. Watch Jill Gascoine go taller. Instant growth.
Oh, now I recognise her, they were saying.
Now, very slowly, I'll just be careful, I don't want to burn you.
tell me
Yes,
when.
go now, go. Just keep that, I'll keep stirring. Keep going, because it's cooking all the time you're
God,
going
isn't
in
it
with the heat.
clever?
And this also adds as a thickening agent as well.
Oh.
Go on, end. Lovely, thank you. And that is actually formed threads. If you had a little more liquid, I've got. Oh dear, did I smash
No,
it?
not at all. No, no.
And if you wouldn't mind, in that oven there's a Chinese bowl heating,
Right.
and it is hot.
I'll turn it off for
I'll
you,
just
Jill.
get
I don't want to
this.
miss camera space, love.
So the heat of the soup has cooked that egg already. So
Where's
this is
my
done.
foot?
Just there for me, thank you. Is all ready to serve.
Right,
Now, just
can you
tip
help me
this
now,
out.
please?
All right, shall I leave my cloth here or do
Yes,
I
no,
leave it
just
over
leave it.
there?
I'll-
Just leave
I'll-
it there,
Yeah,
right.
right. That's the soup. Now what we're going to do, we're going to do some stir-fried rice. Right, but first of all, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make a quick
I wish you
sort
could
of
smell the
omelette.
sesame oil.
Pardon? You can smell it. Now heat your wok first, then a dash of oil, all right?
That's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
you
always
must,
put the oil
no,
in, but you
heat it
wok.
first.
And there's that
heat the
soup,
wok.
which you would agree is
And
terribly,
in this
terribly
goes.
filling.
Smells must be driving you mad out there, isn't it? Wonderful.
Excuse
Now this
me.
will take. Oh,
What?
we don't want
She's
else
got
you
a
want it,
travelling
don't
box with her.
Sorry, no, right.
Sorry about that. There are
Now, hang on. What I
Grow
want
a
to
little.
do with this is when this is sort of gone up like this, I'll just squiggle it in the middle a bit so that it really cooks.
I can't make omelettes. This is.
I know it's not really an omelette, you know, ordinary omelette. It's just egg, and it's actually going to be part of the dish. If I keep it on the heat, it'll be better, wouldn't it, darling? Now, all I want you to do with that is I'll just flip it over a little bit. We don't want to really actually fold it entirely. I'll just put it on this board. Sorry about this. Scoop it out. Oh, good job. I've done it that way. No one's seen it all break up, have they?
My
Just
omelettes
cut
are
that
like
up into little bits for me.
Right, now do you do it with a knife and fork? Is it the
Yes,
best way to
as it's red hot, I suggest you do.
Put that back on there. Right. All right.
Yes.
Just quickly.
Oh, quickly.
And then,
You
yeah,
want it
then I
done
want you to
quickly,
come
do you?
back
Sorry
and I want
about
you to
that.
start off again doing the stir-fried bit. Now, we cook some rice while you're doing that, and the best thing to do is to cook some rice, about 1 cup of rice in 2 cups of water, cook it the day before, take it, and then put it into the fridge and leave it. And it's better to do the rice like this. It's still a bit sticky. Right, now, there's the oil in
Can I
there.
climb up
Go.
there
Yes,
now?
please. Take your wok thingy. Hold
Yeah.
that. Now, be careful. Now, I'm going to tip this in. Here comes some garlic and ginger.
Oh, I'm glad I
Quick
got this
stir
far.
around. Okay. Then we've got here some spring onions and celery. What do you like? Red or white peppers? Red or
David,
green?
Can I just draw a point to something? I'm just
Yep.
taking these dim sums out of here. Be very careful when you're using steam. Make sure you cover your arm double folded so that there's no risk of any of that boiling hot steam getting, because you get a terrible burn.
Right.
Oh, this is lovely.
Good. Now, we've added to
Thank
that
you for
the
that.
red and green pepper and that. Now, we just add a tiny little bit of sesame oil, just a touch, not too much, about half a teaspoonful to give it flavour.
But you don't need a lot of oil at all, do you?
No, that's what it's good for you, isn't it?
I wish you'd come
And
earlier,
also,
Jill.
too, some mushrooms.
Could have done it all.
Mushrooms. And if you like to scoop some of that in.
How much do you want to
Or
put
about
in?
half. I'll keep going, I'll tell you.
Now,
How's that?
That'll do us, won't it?
Yeah.
Right. Now you just do that, darling. And then when you've finished, there's a dish over there. Oh, wait a minute, I've got to add one more ingredient. All right, there you go.
Always dressed like this in the kitchen.
Yeah, I know. It spatters so beautifully on
That's what
sequin.
it is. It's wonderful,
Mind,
isn't
it
it?
drips off. We'll get it dry clean for you, if you like. And then finally, just that goes in the egg.
Oh, this is delicious.
You all right there?
Yeah.
I just want to get changed.
expensive this program. I've just
Why?
knocked over the sesame oil.
Oh, yeah, that was what I was going to say too, Jill. When I put my dim sum into the steamer,
Yeah.
the ones with pork, you can change the flavour by doing it with a little bit of sesame oil on top of those. Just brush them very, very
Or if
lightly.
they're not cooked, you do it to give them a bit of shine.
Right, do you think that's ready?
Oh, I think it is, don't
All right,
you?
I'll
Yeah.
turn
It's
it
lovely
off
and
for you
dry.
so it don't get
Now,
things.
what do you want me to put it in?
Well, can you put a little bit in there? Now, you have
Certainly.
to stand down, or if not, I'll get
No,
you.
I can manage. I'll just turn round.
That's a good girl.
So
Lovely.
there's the dim sum we've done, as I say, and I think we forgot to mention, I was going to say, if you like to pre-prepare all these, get some baking sheets that you're all familiar with, lay these out, put them uncovered into the freezer, freeze them, then take them off and put them into bags,
Enough?
take
Can't
out
do,
the
will
air and wrap them. You've got them perfectly done and they'll last for about 3 or 4
Right.
months. So on a very wet day, get the children, it's fun for the children to make all these little shapes.
Now,
and you've got
lastly,
something to eat.
you
Thank you
finished?
so much. No, I'm telling them something.
Does
They're
he go
not
like
listening,
all the
but I'm
time?
telling them.
Just finally, too, you can add this just a little bit of soy sauce because there's no salt or pepper in it. Pepper is
None in
comes from
mine
the pepper
either.
itself. There you are. So you've
Wow.
done that one.
I'll
Okay,
take that.
lovely.
There we are. So
So
we go
if
to
you like to
table
go
and tuck
through,
in.
we've got some
And I
little
did you
ones
some
with
little crab
crab.
ones for you.
Oh.
So
because
you
you
take
don't
the
eat meat,
rice,
so-
Yes.
I'll bring the other 2 dim sum, and then I'll come back and get your crab.
Just
Mind
sit in the middle there,
shells.
Mind the
Jill.
eggshell.
Yes,
She's
sit
through there.
centre.
Oh, that looks lovely, the colour, doesn't it?
There you are.
Again, that nice fresh
Here you go.
look.
Oh,
they're hot, they're hot.
Exactly. They're real.
Where do you want to put them?
Over there.
I've just got to go and get the crowd watch.
You sit down.
It's done. I forgot all about it being hot.
Well, naturally, we've just cooked it. It's real
wow.
television. So there. Make it a thinner. Various little shapes or sticks we've had. You have trouble with carpenters too,
They won't
don't you?
close, they won't mind about
Oh,
it.
don't look beyond this. Just gaze at Jill. The pork wontons that David did here.
And just a
Yes,
simple
I did
fried
chicken
rice, which is
meatball.
rather nice there.
And we've done some condiments here of pepper, hot chili sauce and soy to dip through. Oh, and of course you wanted the crab ones.
Yes.
Right, well, what I thought we'd do, we'd just do a little bit of fun. Oh, you can choose your own, because
Oh,
it's not
yes,
fair,
that's-
is it, otherwise?
that's the
It's a
thing, isn't
fortune
it?
she's picking there.
There's one.
I'll have that one. That one wants
Do
to
you
go
want
to
one?
you
Of
Of
anyway.
course I'd
No,
like
you've got to
one.
open them and read them, because this could be
Out
very
loud.
instrumental with your book, for example. I mean, you're supposed to have these at the end of the meal.
Yes,
They're
we'll start
fortune
at the
cookies,
beginning.
but we'll start at the beginning,
Right,
right?
this is
So-
Oriental Fortune Cookie Company Limited. Oh, I won't give you the phone number.
Oh, I've got two.
A woman's guess is much more accurate than a man's certainty. What's that mean about fortunes?
I don't know what
Load
this
of
means
rubbish.
either. The philosophy of and sense of the next. Oh, what's him? Yes.
I've got two.
Do you understand
I've got
that?
two in
Sort
mine.
of.
See, I've got a genius does what it must. Says your. Well, when they're fairly simple and quite bland, relatively bland,
Yeah.
is to have them.
Forthcoming book.
Thank you
It's
very
going to-
much.
when you get it finished.
Yeah, when I
And
get it.
what are you
Wonderful.
what are you actually doing?
It sounds
What are you
so
doing it
interesting.
with? I mean, what sort of cooking are you doing it with?
Well, it's mainly
Food.
vegetarian, but there's
Yeah.
some fish in it
Yeah,
now, and I
yeah.
sort of stretch. It's what they call demi-veg, you know.
Yeah. So not
And
totally
you don't measure
vegetarian.
anything. You throw it all in and taste it.
Oh, I
That's
like
a good
that. Well, that's
idea.
very
Right,
much
we all
shaped
do,
us.
don't we, really?
It's been
Yeah.
wonderful to have you on the set.
Oh, and
isn't it?
also
Lovely,
too,
yeah.
by the way, while I'm doing this, that if you'd like a copy, complete set of the recipes we're featuring in the series, send a large self-addressed envelope with a 30p stamp on it to Hudson and Halls. That's PO Box 7, London W3 6XJ.
Oh, well
So
done.
I'll give you a little
Again,
piece of that. if you'd
wonderful
like
to
to
have
try
you.
as you
Yeah.
did the
Would you like
rice.
to try a little of this soup?
And
I'll
you
get
can do
this.
the
I'm going to
other.
put it in, have I?
Oh,
I wanna
Oh
try
yes,
one
have
of
some
those.
soup.
I will in a moment. Just
I
a minute.
can't use
Could we
these.
say
All right,
goodnight
and we'd
to our
like to say anyway,
audience?
thank you
Thank
to our
all
audience
to our
here.
lovely
It's
audience
been wonderful
here.
to have you here. And
You
at
at
home,
home, God
thanks
bless
awfully
you.
for joining
See you
us.
soon.
We'll see you soon. God bless. Thanks, Jill.
Oh, it's great.
Now, a little
Well, you want to pick up